Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to What's the Hazard? I'm Doug Fletcher. It is Friday. What is it? It's March 8th. It's March 8th. I know that because my son Kent is having a birthday in a few days, so happy birthday, Kent. I know there's no chance in hell you're going to listen, but I hope you have a great day, buddy. Great to see you guys. I've got two guests. For those of you that are watching, Marc McClure, you recognize Marc, old friend, colleague, confidant. We used to just talk on the phone while we were both driving.
Oh God,
wine for hours.
We've had some long conversations.
Yeah,
over
buddy. Yeah, welcome back.
Western Iowa.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming down. We've had 70-degree weather for 3 straight weeks, and the day that it snows is the day that you had to drive down from Iowa. So.
I came into town. I'm going to Lincoln. I've got Husker baseball opening today.
Nice.
Had the plan to have Katie with me and the new granddaughter, Talila.
Yes.
And
congratulations.
Excited. Yeah, thank you. 4 months old now, so she was going to get to make first appearance on a podcast.
Oh, that would have been wonderful.
Here.
Well, we'll make sure that we, sometime this spring when everything's, we'd love to have her.
So,
I thought you were coming to actually, I thought I had won the pool.
Well,
because last time you and Katie were on, we had talked about the baby pool, and I felt really strongly about my pick.
Gonna let Katie announce who was closest.
Okay, it's not me, though.
I mean, no, well, I'm not. I don't want to say.
Oh, we're not actually declaring who the winner is yet?
Jay Petrie was real close there, too. And
that seems like the fix was in on Petrie.
Oh, yeah, if I get a free harness, I wouldn't have minded that. So.
Yes, well, I'd also like to introduce Mandy.
Yes.
Last name?
Gruhlkey.
Mandy Gruhlkey.
Yes.
I apologize.
No, that's
I knew
okay.
I was going to butcher. Yes. So Mandy Gruhlkey, an attorney.
Yes.
You work with Marc periodically.
Yep. I'm a personal injury attorney, and Marc helps me out on some of my cases.
Oh, fantastic. So he helps you.
He helps me, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slip and fall cases. So today's a prime day for me to need an expert.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. Yeah, of course. And you're with the Advocates?
Yes.
Here in Omaha, Nebraska?
Yes, correct.
Well, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.
And you associate with this cat.
I do. Yeah. Trust him.
I do too, man.
Yes.
Absolutely. He is certainly an expert in the field. So
we went out for dinner last night. We were just talking and mentioned the podcast, and she wants to do a podcast.
Absolutely.
So
I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
This sounds fantastic.
This would be the place to come this morning and hang out.
No
with
doubt.
us.
Yeah. Well, welcome.
Thank
I'm
you for
glad you could
having
make it.
me.
Of course. That's fantastic. Well, so you've got some interesting news,
I
man.
do. I do.
And we've talked about this before, and I've said this many, many times. You and your partner Ted are two of the best safety, health, environmental, you name it, trainers that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. Outstanding trainers. And I know you do lots of other things, but that is your wheelhouse, would you say?
Yes.
I would agree, man. You guys are excellent. And you are now kind of delving into a new domain, new territory.
We're looking. So Ted and I knew what we want to do, and we know that we can develop great content to teach with. Our goal is to be able to help, bring some others along to do this with us so that we're not the ones that are always in front of the audience. Mm-hmm. And we got to, continue to engage our audience. So we went looking last fall. We started looking at some different things that we can do. We have our hands-on trailer. We do our confined space out of our trailer, fall protection classes, things like this. But we wanted to be able to expand even more, bring in more of our hazmat, work on some scenarios, ethanol, ammonia, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, everybody has them kind of things. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to start developing that so we can offer a broader offering across, like the ethanol plants, the digester plants, the RNG plants, things like this. We started to take a look at some things, and we are now proud to say that we have augmented reality training. And what we're going to do is we've purchased 2 systems. They're called FIAR, F-I-A-R, and that is Fire Extinguisher Augmented Reality. And the training is done with a iPad on the unit. The unit allows us to take a room like this and map it in 3D, and then we can put the fire where we want to have the fire put out.
No kidding.
Puts it in your hands, gives you an opportunity to see what AR is like. And we're looking for more. Augmented reality, virtual reality, things that we can do, cost-effective ways to help people really get to be able to see scenarios up close, and just a great way to engage people and do it safely. So one of the things that I have is Ted and I both teach 7DE, and we teach to the qualified person level. Your problem with qualified person in electrical is not everybody is qualified to that same level.
Sure.
This guy may be really good in front of big switchgear. This guy should not be in front of anything but a bang board on a construction site. We still have to give them each the class they need. One of the things we've always wanted to be able to do would be to do some hands-on verification. Can't safely let a guy start poking around on verifying 480 in a plant during training. You know, this would look rather bad on the trainer if something goes wrong.
Sure.
If we can do that with virtual reality, augmented reality, where we can put somebody into a headset and they're manipulating controls and doing things like this, we think they are going to get a better training. We're calling it transformational training. We want our training to be very engaging. We want it to be very immersive to the client and the employee, and we want them to retain it. So we're looking for retention. How can we imprint that a little bit further? We do so much with our phones right here, and we can put so much into a phone these days. It was just natural for us to see where this would go. So long term, we have a couple of ideas what this will look like with a mobile training trailer. But tough to come and tell you about it, show somebody, and then get you to want to do this, you know, for my future. And my future is also going to include a price increase to cover the cost of that trailer.
Of course, absolutely.
So we looked at what can we do today to get it out in front of you. And Mr. Producer, we have a video there. If you
Dylan,
wanna
awesome.
Run our video, we'll let everybody kind of see what's going on here with this. So this is the unit. Very simple.
I don't think we're able to talk over it, are we? Oh, I love that. Awesome. Whoa, I love that.
So the unit's lightweight. Anybody that knows does anything with fire. So I have a Bolex fire simulator. Ted, we have two of them. We have like the version 1, and then we have like a version 3. Labor intensive. You know, we have to set up the extinguishers. We have to have water. We have to have air. We have to have power. Mine is very temperamental with weather. I'm certainly not teaching fire extinguisher on a day like today outside. With this unit, we can bring it right in here. We could teach you and Dylan right now specifically on the lights and the equipment that's in the room.
So again, explain how are you going in and doing the mapping? That's something that you will do prior to the actual training, of course. You're going to go in and...
We do it right while we're there. So the unit comes with an iPad. There is a software program that's been developed that will map this room in 3D. It also allows us to insert different objects. So like we can put a burn barrel right in the middle of the room.
Okay.
We could put a oil rag can over here with the lid open and catch it on fire.
So you're simulating something that's likely to occur in that location.
Correct.
Rather than just the old pan full of diesel that's burning out in the parking lot.
So that's what really got me about it, Doug, was I'd be able to come in and like literally we can catch a light on fire. We can catch a monitor on fire. We can go to the break room and show everybody what the microwave on fire looks like and let them have a chance to put it out. We can build a quiz in there. It's programmed so it follows the pass method. If you don't pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep, you're not getting the fire out. And this will tell you. If you select an A extinguisher to put out a C fire, this thing will spark and sputter at the electrical panel.
Really? I love that.
The nice thing about this is it doesn't require Ted or I to have it in our hands. This is something that, like looking at Katie, looking at some of the younger people that we're looking to bring along, I can have somebody else using this as our source of revenue, meeting the need of our client, demonstrating the things that Ted and I want to do further on down the road. We're in talks with a couple of different companies on what our future for virtual reality, augmented reality looks like with this. And we need to work on developing our content. I just saw this as a great way for us to get that AR out in front of the clients, let them see how easy this is, and see how versatile it is. So I talked myself into one, and then Ted decided to buy one too.
Could you demo this possibly? Like for one of my clients, they're having a corporate meeting probably next month, perhaps. It would be a great opportunity to maybe get it out in front of them, and then they could take it to all of their facilities, something like that. That would be really cool.
That's exactly what our plan for it is.
Excellent. Oh, let's make sure we lock that down afterwards. That sounds. So who's your audience? I mean,
everybody.
Anybody could do this. Who's going to be? I mean, is it a company that has? I would assume this is going to be a company, probably maybe a larger outfit, higher fire risk, probably. Than are the administrative folks going to be out there?
So that's the nice thing is we have places where we do still the old method, the diesel in the can. Your administrative people don't usually participate.
They don't like that, do they?
No.
No, of course.
Now I'm going to be able to bring this right into your office and show you. So, here we go. In 15 minutes, we could be holding a class in your break room. What's the possibility that somebody's going to have a microwave fire someday?
Interesting.
The unit is so versatile. It looks to me like I should be able to come in here, teach somebody in an office setting how to put out a microwave fire, how to put out a trash can fire.
Okay.
Now we can walk out on your floor and, hey, let's get that forklift operator and let's have a fire on the forklift.
I love that. Yeah.
Let's go to maintenance and we'll start a fire in the chemical storage closet. Let's have an electrical panel fire. We can do this and we can tailor it to every area and across everything. So I think it's going to be really big for us.
I do too.
And like I say, the trailer's $250,000 is the starting price. That isn't going to probably get it out the door. Well, it doesn't include the truck to tow it out the door.
Right.
And I was just seeing it in my mind that that's so hard to see and attain when I can't show it to you. When I tell you that I'm going to start training out of a trailer that costs $250,000, boy, Mark, what are you doing in this trailer?
No, I trust you, man. You know what you're doing.
But I've got to be able to get that with the customer before I show up with the trailer.
Okay.
So now I've got a method to do that. We can show where we're going with this. We have some other applications we're looking at.
So what's next? What goes beyond?
The people.
It seems like there are endless opportunities.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
So the people that we're working with on some of this are the same people that have developed the simulators for like JLG.
Yeah. I was thinking. I know crane operation. There's a lot of things where we can do simulated training, so that you reduce some of the risk of having a trainee doing some of these things.
We're looking at what we can do with some of that as far as the mobile elevator work platforms. Forklift, of course, lends itself well. But I'm really excited to see what we can do with electrical.
I love that.
Where I could actually have a guy holding a fluke meter, and, this is all just going to be VR, but he's actually going to be touching circuits safely and demonstrating that skill.
There's really no good way to do that.
No, there's not.
Out in the plant.
No, and
that's a great point.
So I thought about like just a lockout tagout board. So I was going to do an electrical lockout tagout board this year, and nice project for me in the shop. The problem with it is you're going to be $3,000 into it, and there's one problem. Everything on there's got a UL listing, and the code says you use it for what it was intended to be used for. And now I'm going to make it so it's going to malfunction.
Yeah.
I got to look at that with the integrity of how we present to these guys, too, because we're working with electricians. They're going to be like, well, wait a minute. How come you get to violate code? And
right. And what about liability? it probably has some accompanying liability that you don't want to assume.
And it was so easy, Doug, when they were my electricians kind of a thing. You know, when Brad Polinsky and I started and were doing some things like this, you know, Bob Lamastro helped us with some stuff. I felt totally comfortable in that setting. You know, Brad knew these guys, knew what kind of skill set he was building in them. I felt comfortable with them doing that. Today I go into companies and it's like, no, I don't know that I'm that comfortable, you know, because I don't know the people like I did like that. So this would give us something that's pretty much foolproof and safe. We can create a number of different scenarios, doing things, especially like with the chemistry anymore. Everybody's hazmat teams have suffered. I don't have as many people that are active in fire departments and EMS as we used to in all the plants.
That's true.
So again, the more things that I can do with them in a hands-on setting, because they're not getting to see it anywhere else.
It seems like the natural evolution of what we do and how to do that. Seems like the right next step.
I believe so.
That's awesome, man. So, my fault. Riskill is the company. Riskill Consulting Group. You and Ted and your team.
Yep.
How do they get a hold of you? Let's get that out there before people miss the chance to.
Riskill.net, Riskill.net. Go out there, give us a like. Check out our blogs, like something. Katie will figure out who you are and send you some swag.
Nice.
We're going to be at the Iowa, Illinois Safety Conference in April.
Nice.
We're demonstrating. We're bringing the FIR units to that and the baby. So, and our client chocolate story.
So you'll let me actually use the fire extinguisher simulator and hold the baby if I come out to
hold the baby. You know,
I'll bring my wife. She would love that.
I think the neighbor's booth will be on fire all day long.
That sounds awesome. So when is that?
April 23rd through the 25th.
And it's in Des Moines or
Coralville.
Coralville. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So Riskill, make sure to check it out.
Yep.
So you are actually doing this training now. It is available now if somebody wants it. They can call you and say, let's get it set up.
Picking the units up today.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So Ted is picking the units up today.
Yeah, it was.
Is he going to pull like two twin trailers or something? How's he going to do this?
No, so the units are literally a pull behind Pelican case. I mean, 10-pound fire extinguisher and an iPad. That's all it is.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, so
that trailer unit that they're showing is just the way that they transport the unit.
Yeah. The trailer is the future day.
I gotcha. Okay.
So that was part of the problem is just here a couple weeks ago, I was out and did some 7D classes for one of our old friends, Jose Arunia.
Oh, no shit.
And,
whoops.
And
sorry, Mom.
You know, thinking about what else I could do.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't do the fire unit because I had the back of the truck full of 7D gear.
Right.
So it's like, gosh, it's just bulk was killing me with that. Now I've got something that literally is as big as a backpack.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely going to get you in front of some of my clients because this has been kind of a perpetual problem for them as well because it's a giant pain to go out there and. I mean, if you're doing fire extinguisher training versus information, based on the 157G or whatever that is, you have to have hands-on. You have to use this. You have to simulate.
You do
extinguishing a fire. It's not enough just to give the pass, and
you've got to make it kind of real world,
without question.
What are their hazards? I was in a warehouse yesterday, and I look around and it's like, well, you got three kinds of dust. You got conductive dust off the metal that you handle. You've got combustible dust, one from organic off the rubber of the tires, and two off of all of your packing material. So, the two types of dust you have in this business aren't the kinds of dust that are our friends. This is, I told them that I ranked their fire hazard higher than I ranked their forklift hazard. And they are very focused on operating around their forklifts. And they're looking at all this dust, and it's like it's not registering with them. They just didn't see that as part of the issue. And I'm thinking to myself, all this cardboard on these shelves, this could be a problem.
It's all fuel, yeah, definitely.
So that was one of the things we talked about with them.
And they all shed dust.
Yes.
Constantly.
Yes.
Interesting.
And that's
very interesting.
Again, warehouse, how many of these people have ever actually had a fire extinguisher training where they've had it hands-on?
Right. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I've shot a fire extinguisher off a few times, but I'm by no means an expert.
To kind of make it better, so, I got companies that we do this annually with, and so some of my companies actually have a time clock. We make it a contest who can put the fire out the quickest. That gets good play with everybody. But again, it's only out there. We're just putting out, a fire here with water. And nice that they did it, but what about in their actual work area? Well, now we can go out to that work area, talk about what is there, what is that potential, and then what would that fire look like? So that's another thing with the FIRE unit is it gives me an A, B, and C fire.
Wow.
So it is a specific burns that way, and the skills that would be required to put it out are to that level. We're looking down the road for the D and the K to be available to us by next year.
Wow, that's really interesting, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even heard anybody consider that before.
Yeah.
I love that. So what are the differences? Can you describe a little bit about what you would see between A, B, and C? Of
course, the C fire is conductive, so we're not going to want to hit it with anything liquid. And for the most part in an A and B fires, we're looking for that extinguisher to provide some cooling and, of course, suffocation, trying to get the oxygen away. We just got to remove one of those legs. Each one of them has a distinct way they burn. Combustibles burn differently than a flammable liquid burn.
No doubt, yeah.
And so that's part of, where A and B, C type extinguishers come in very handy. But, do we really know and understand a little bit about that? Well, now that we can put something like this in your hands, that gives us the opportunity to be able to go into some of that detail and talk about it. Let people kind of realize. I just had a gentleman in, Mike Mulheron was in, he's retired Cedar Rapids, Iowa fire captain. And part of his fire class, he did it from one of my 30-hour classes. It was so fun. So Mike started telling us about, like searching a room and the impact that infrared has made on firefighters being able to find people. And, I mean, it's huge. It's a huge improvement. We're saving people that used to die. But as we're going through his training, we're also realizing we still haven't done a really good job on teaching people how not to get into the fire.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that we want to work on.
Now, that's a very interesting comment. I don't think people have, and I certainly don't either, have an appreciation for what that is going to really look like in the workplace.
Yeah.
The simulation isn't accurate.
Yeah.
Out in the driveway or out in the parking lot.
Correct.
With the little simulated fire. It's nothing like what you're going to experience in the plant. This gives you an opportunity to at least identify when is it reasonable to attempt to use a fire extinguisher and when it's not. I mean, you can tell that this is beyond my capabilities. Or
that's the other nice thing, Doug, with this is, 10-pound extinguisher, what's it really worth? How long does it last?
It does all of that.
Well, it gives this ability to teach that along with it, because now you can know and understand how big is that fire actually. It's easy for me to stand in front of a class and say, we're only going to use these to put out an incipient fire. But okay, so it's the wastebasket. Your wastebasket's on fire, here's your incipient fire. The fire is now touching that wall. We no longer have an incipient stage fire. We have a structural fire.
Right.
Now what are we doing?
It changes everything. Yeah.
Now we want to be thinking the extinguisher helps us escape. What else could be going bad? Take the extinguisher with you and go.
This is great, man.
Putting it out there in the workplace where people actually work. A battery fire, forklift battery fire. What would we do? Where's this at? Now that we're standing here in front of your charging system, we can look and tell you which path smoke would be taking. How low is that smoke going to come? What's your fan or ventilation doing to this? And we can discuss it with somebody right there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Have you guys been through, has your office been through this training yet?
Not yet, but I mean, when he showed it to me last night, I thought this is so valuable, because when if there is a fire in our microwave, somebody's, popcorn always catches on fire, right?
Of course.
So I'm sitting there thinking,
Yeah.
I know that in those moments people panic, but if they have some experience that they've previously been in this situation to draw from, that's going to, I mean, the hazard is going to be so much less because they're going to be like muscle memory, you know, all kinds of things, and they're going to be able to put out that fire. They're going to have confidence. Like, this is huge.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And we have, you know, I guess we really haven't had many options in the past, but when you do, the one thing that always bothers me, if we have I would love to hear your pet peeves about training, you know, things that you've seen that really annoy you. But one of the things that annoys me is our emergency action plan. Yeah. We simulate a tornado drill. We simulate a fire. Everybody gathers up their stuff and, you know, puts their chair in under their desk, and they joke and laugh, and they walk out, and they stand outside like idiots, and they, you know.
It's not taken serious.
It's not taken seriously. And how could it be? I mean, that's probably the drill that we deserve because that's what we're doing.
We, you know, back in our day at Procter & Gamble, I was fortunate. I had good management, and we actually got to do a simulation of being hit by a tornado in Aurora, Nebraska.
Actually, the building actually hit.
And we got to pick the time to do it. My plant manager had some parameters on it, but we were able to set this up, Fletch. And what we did was, the first thing was we made sure the storm cut between Grand Island and Aurora, and the plant manager and plant engineer lived in Grand Island, and you're 4 hours away now because of down power lines. So we can't let you come to the plant to be here to help us. And we basically had this on index cards, and a couple of other people in my department were like the umpires, and we handed a shift leader a card saying the plant is under tornado watch. And then like 15 minutes later, we gave them a warning, and then went from the warning to you've taken a hit. We removed an employee from the warehouse and had him in my office playing solitaire, and waited to see if, you know, when they found they were short somebody in the head count. And, you know, it changes your appreciation for how you do a drills. We took this as far as after shift changed, everybody out on the line went back to work, but engineering continued throughout the day to work with contractors and service providers for recovery. My team, we continued to work with the fire department about what would search look like, what would live electrical look like, how are we going to protect people on all of this. And so it was a real fun day and a really good drill, and showed us a lot of things.
But I mean, that takes a lot of effort.
Yes.
A lot of thought and consideration, a lot of pre-planning.
Yes.
And the vast majority of training that you and I have experienced, people don't do that.
Yeah.
They prepare it in 5 minutes before the training, if that.
Put the plan together, never really go through, you know. Yeah. Nope, see it all the time.
Right.
See it all the time. Have, you know, everybody will have their severe weather plan. Well, this is a steel building, so what's going to happen here? You know, well, we're going to go to this corner. No, you're not. You're all going to go out and get in your cars, and we're going to drive away from here. This is not the place to be.
No doubt. Yeah, this is not good.
You know, you can't just buy the canned program and fill in that blank and think you're okay. What would happen with this building?
And this is what has always separated you, Ted, I believe also, as trainers, at least in my experience, a little bit of forethought. You know, what's the reality of this, and why are we even doing this? Why are we just checking a block? I mean, if that's what we're doing, okay.
Yeah.
If all I care about is checking that box, you know, okay, we've accomplished that. Maybe that's fine. But if you're actually hoping to gain something from this,
and that's one of the reasons that we've pushed our classes to be so hands-on and immersive, involving the people. I'm teaching the new 2024 7D this year, so I totally scrapped my old class. Had Katie help me build out some material, looking at the standard just a little bit different in the way I teach it. But one of the things that I want to really bring out this year in my class is I'm teaching more about electrical shock and release. It's an annual training, and yet I will walk into a room, set out an AED, bring a shepherd's hook, and say, okay, which ones are in your tool bag when you guys do verification? Do you guys have a shepherd's hook? Have you ever practiced release? This is part of being a qualified person. And, you know, I want to have people have this, and we offer that as a class. We teach that class as a 2-hour subset of our 7DE. But it's amazing. You know, people look at you and it's like, well, maybe they have a shepherd's hook. But chances are we don't have that.
I've only seen them at swimming pools, man. I've never seen a shepherd's hook anywhere else.
Yeah, and we were 20 years ago, again, you know, Brad Polinsky was with me at P&G. Brad would have a guy inside of the grasp of the hook to do a verification. It's just how we grew up and how we train.
Wow.
But now, you know, I go into places and I see that one all the time. AEDs. If you're an electrician and you have somebody go down from an electrical shock, the key is getting that AED on them very quickly.
Right.
You know, what was your training? Well, my training was, you know, we put pads on a mannequin. Yeah, I'm sorry, but all of us construction guys wear hoodies. You're not going to tear them. You're going to have the scissors.
Right.
Have you ever practiced that? Have you ever practiced getting somebody out of a 40 cal suit so you could apply the pads?
No.
Yeah.
I can answer that for you.
Yeah, no, you haven't. But as a qualified person for electrical, these are the kind of skills that you should have. And just the AED, the practice of using the AED by itself. Again, a lot of people think that, you know, they watch somebody else put those pads on. Boy, this isn't real life. Real life is
I wear pads with me all the time, just in case, because I'm that age now where you know, if I need to be resuscitated, I want it to be nice and smooth. So I put them on first thing in the morning and just wear them around.
That way you can keep yourself shaved and everything,
exactly,
so you don't, you know,
just where the pads go.
You can manscape
I'll
around
have like
that
little
way. So
little Sharpie arrows, pad goes here.
Know that it's going to fit there. Know that it's going to stay sticking. You bet.
That's kind of what happens when you reach our age.
What happens when you reach our age and you're a safety
But you're right.
guy.
Nobody knows that stuff, man. Nobody does that.
Nobody. You know, stories of things like this time and time again. That, you know, gosh, we grabbed the AD, but no, that bag was gone with the scissors and the razor.
And you know, Mark, this hits really close to home for me. I mean, so I don't know. My fiance, Walt Secord, worked for Commonwealth Electric. In January of last year, he had a heart event on the job site.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he passed away the next day.
Oh.
Yeah. And I know, I hear stories, you know, and not to disparage Commonwealth, they did everything they could, but there were things in the aftermath of that, you know, it was a learning lesson for them, you know.
Sure.
And so this stuff is so important.
Yeah.
And, you know, not that anything would have, the outcome probably would not have been different, but I know that, you know, this stuff is
But they weren't prepared. I mean, they were as prepared as they believed they needed to be.
Well, they had the unit. They did what they needed to do from the 911, you know, person, dispatcher or whatever. But I know that there was a lot of people that it was a perfect example of why the device that we're here for is so important, because they'd never been in a situation like this. His coworkers were there that had to, you know, take over this situation, and, you know, they did the very best they could. But it, you know, I think the thing is we all live our life day to day. Wake up in the morning and think it's never going to happen, and I'm here to tell you it does. You know, so you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
You know, we had a company here a few years ago, similar story. So the gentleman that was injured and passes was the competent person on the site, and like in a Walt's case, everybody looked to Walt. You know.
Yeah, he was the one that would have been there.
Yeah, Walt will take care of it. So why would I need to be prepared?
You know, well, Walt's the boss, and we all know he knows what to do.
Yeah,
and that was the same way with this. This happens, and these guys were like, and they were experienced. They were journeyman people, but they're a competent person. They're, you know, the foreman. He's the guy that's now on the ground, and you got to go and do something now.
Man. I'm just thinking about my own life and situation, and I am poorly prepared for most.
$800, we can get you a refurbished AED, and you can keep it back of the seat of the Subaru.
That's not a horrible idea, frankly.
Plug it into your pads as you're driving.
It's interesting because, you know, the gym that I go to, they have this little stretch of like AstroTurf, and we pull sleds back and forth on it. This has become a kind of a popular thing in the. And we noticed, my buddy and I, Mick, we pull this sled on Saturdays, and as you walk down this, there's an AED hanging right there on the wall, and we both look at each other like, this seems oddly fortuitous that two old men are dragging sleds right toward the AED on the wall, you know. And I just say that, you know, just in jest, but nobody's prepared. You know, I've got friends now. I've got a buddy, Dustin, that is doing the Stop the Bleed training.
Yes.
He's a paramedic here in town. I took his class just at a conference that I attended, and I was just blown away.
Yep.
This is so important. And in the industrial world, in the construction world, amputations happen every day. I mean, traumatic injuries.
The only two things that are going to save your life out on a job site are the AED and a Stop the Bleed. Mm-hmm. That first aid kit is nice to have.
Sure.
But we are not going to do surgery out of that kit.
No.
If we're going,
and you're not going to.
If we're going to save somebody, we've got to stop their bleed, or we have to bring them back. Mm-hmm. And just, again, another little thing with the electrical. So teach electrical and everything. We go through this, and in my mind and in Ted's mind, we feel that as a qualified person, if we're going to teach you this, we want you to know all of these things. You should be first aid CPR qualified. And the reason you should be is because then you can use that knowledge to help with the risk mitigation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What are we doing? How are we going to do this safely? I may be the best man to do this, but I'm the only guy here that's qualified first aid CPR. I can't be the guy doing it. So all those things got to be considered. And again, those are the things that Ted and I have really tried to look at and say, we can have great content and bring these things in as our discussion. Now, where do we go beyond this with training? And that's why we're talking the AR and
the AR, the augmented reality. I love it, man.
Get that as close to
and as you continue to expand these offerings, the course materials that you'll be able to do that with. I mean, this has got to be the future, right? This is it.
That's what we're looking at.
I think that's fantastic. I think I'm going to sell my company and become like a sales rep for you guys.
We'd love to have you
because everybody needs this training.
Don't even start with me. I've offered you so many jobs through the years.
No, I'm serious. I'm looking for the way out right now, and I think this is my way out.
Well, it would be another job where you really wouldn't have to work. So that'd be good.
Which is
for
perfect.
You. Yeah.
Perfect for me. That falls right into my skill set. No talent whatsoever, but I can talk. Or
not so much the no talent, just like it's never been a real job.
I've never had a real job. This is so funny. I guess it's funny. Maybe it's not funny. Maybe I shouldn't be. But when Chris Bryant and I do training together, you know, Chris is a friend of ours. He's a trainer as well, an exceptional trainer. But he was like an EOD bomb squad diver in the Navy. He was one of the first air marshals after 9/11. He got recruited into, Homeland Security. Then he worked, decommissioning bomb sites for the Corps of Engineers. So his whole life has been service and scary shit. And then I get up and introduce myself and say, well, I've been watching other people work for 40 years and criticizing them, and that's what I do, And so we have a really interesting dynamic between the two training styles, Since I don't actually know how to do anything, and I've never alleged that I do. I mean, I can hang some pumps. I know a little bit about industrial hygiene. That might be about it.
Hazard recognition.
Hazard recognition. That's something that I have.
And that's why, so again, talk about what we're going to do in the future. Wednesday, June 27th, I believe it is.
Is that the day we're getting together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
is that on my calendar?
It should be.
Okay.
It should be. It's the last week in June. If you want to catch this act live, we are doing a 30-hour class.
That's right.
In Des Moines for Des Moines Area Community College.
Fantastic.
General industry. On Tuesday, I'll talk a little bit about OSHA and let Doug take you through some things. And then on Wednesday morning, we're going to talk hazard recognition. And at noon, we're moving our class to Principal Park to watch the Iowa Cubs play baseball.
Love it.
And the assignment for our class will be, they are the new compliance officers at OSHA, and baseball is now their domain. Mm-hmm. What are the hazards and what are the risks and what are we going to do about them?
Plentiful. There are lots of hazards out there.
And Gary Higbee from Des Moines is going to come out, Higbee and Associates. Gary involved with Safe Start and with the Wilsons getting Safe Start going.
Nice.
A lot of experience. And he's the only guy I know that's ever caught Bob Gibson. So,
holy shit, really?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, he's got some great stories.
No kidding. In the line of fire. I know that's going to be.
In the line of fire, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
So
Good. Well, we'll talk about OSHA, and I'll share some of the family secrets.
What the hazard shirts for the guys, maybe. And
absolutely. Oh, this is fantastic, man. So before we wrap things up, pet peeves, training pet peeves. We've talked a little bit about it. I think to some degree, just the fact that training isn't always relevant to the reality of the situation.
And it doesn't always have to be a PowerPoint.
And it should, yes, it probably shouldn't, right? The vast majority of the people that we interact with are not desk people. They don't sit at desks. You know, they're up, they're working, they're moving, and to force them into a seat. When you do a 30-hour for a construction group, and, you know, that first hour introduction, they're all asleep because they know that if I'm sitting, this is an opportunity for me to rest. Right? Otherwise, I'd be up working. This is not work. And so they either immediately go to sleep or you engage them somehow.
Yeah. My worst training ever was here in town. And NPDS certification for permit writer, EPA class.
Well, that sounds horrible to begin with.
Oh, God.
Permit writer.
8-hour review, take the test the next day. This guy comes in from EPA Region 7.
So he's a government guy?
He's a government guy.
Say no more.
The old Holiday Inn on 72nd, before we had cell phones.
Oh, boy.
And
do you remember a time when we didn't have cell phones? You probably don't.
Barely.
Yeah,
this guy opens up his slide deck, and first thing he announces is EPA doesn't serve donuts and coffee, and they usually have a partner do that, but they didn't get a partner. There isn't even water on the table. And there's like 100 of us sitting here to take this. And you've got to go through. So at the end of the day, you hand in this like pre-test, and he gives you a number, and that's the number that you have to have the next morning that goes on your test sheet. And to get it, you got to sit with this guy for 8 hours. He opened up his slide deck. It was 480 slides. We were taking a break at 10 and at 2 and a break at noon. 30 minutes at noon, 15 and 15. And this class goes to 5, and he just showed me he's got one slide for every minute.
Every minute, a slide a minute.
And then he started
I'm impressed.
And then he started to talk, and he never changed his diction, and he just continued to talk like this. And we were sitting there at the aisle going, and the slide would switch. So,
and every 60 seconds,
it was like
switched.
57, 58, 59.
And switch.
And I get this great idea. Dang it, my pager just went off. Excuse me, I got to step out. About then the door opened, and the old bank of payphones right outside that conference room. You know, you've seen it. This is where we used to do
I've been at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, we used to do the safety council stuff there. Yeah. Anyway, like literally there's already 5 people deep in every phone. And I'm like,
please call me.
I'm like sitting there, this guy next to me, he's got his pager out. He's like, go out in the hallway and call me, would you?
Yeah. No, that's brutal. But that's
just brutal.
A lot of training still happens.
You got to get these guys. You got to know and understand what they know. You've got to get them involved. I don't know.
And it takes some work. It takes preparation. It takes thoughtfulness. It takes some work.
I'm up to two storage lockers full of toys.
Good for you, man.
My wife thinks I'm a hoarder. I mean, she's like, really, do you need 2 broken chain falls to teach rigging? It's like, but I got 2 broken
these
chain
are both
falls.
good. They're different.
I can show this hazard with this chain, and I can show this hazard with a bad gear. But, that way, I mean, people see things, they like that. They like to be able to be hands-on. They like to be involved.
Of course.
We're just doing as much as we can to move them to keep that engagement. I need them to retain what they learn.
Yeah, we do.
And that's, I'm trying to get that imprinted. So we're looking for it. We want it to be, Ted told me, it's like, give me a vision of this. And he said, transformational training.
That's the name of the Did you get that, Dylan? Transformational training.
Katie wanted me to make sure to mention that to you, Doug.
I love it. What are your pet peeves about training? So you are an office person, I would assume.
Yes.
To some degree.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And you guys go through continuing it all the time. You're required to do continuing education, I'm assuming, in order to keep your license?
Yep.
Or
10 hours.
And so what's your pet peeve about the training that you have to go through? Same kind of stuff?
Exactly what
Is
you're
it the
talking
same
about.
approach?
Yeah, so where it's just mundane, somebody reading their PowerPoint slides, not applying real life situations. It's just all the same. Yeah.
The real life situations, the scenarios that are going to relate to my world.
Yeah, because I've already sat through law school, and I know the basis of the law, but I wanted to to apply to real life situations, cases that are going to happen now, and so.
Yeah. Everybody's subjected to the same old school training approach, regardless of what your expertise or your world is. We've all been abused with this for years. It's time to get past this. You could probably do something.
Some sort of simulation.
That would be more relevant, and even simulation in your world as well, in the legal world.
Yeah. Do like a mock trial or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. Did you watch Suits?
I do. I'm in the middle of it. I went so long with people telling me how to watch it. And I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. It's not real. And then it really does suck.
It kind of, we watched, my wife and I watched a few seasons of Suits. I think it was 8 seasons long. We didn't make it all the way through, but we got pretty deep in about 4 or 5 seasons.
A lot of it's not how it really works.
Is that true?
So you know. But some of it is. I'm like, wow, And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happens in law firms that gets a little interesting.
I was watching something. I was watching Will Trent. You know this show, Will Trent?
Yes.
My wife and I kind of enjoy this show, Will Trent. And Will Trent was going up in a scissor lift to access the roof of a building, and the superintendent said, OSHA wouldn't. And I just started laughing because rarely does OSHA get mentioned in the movies and things like that. But when it does, it's usually some kind of an assault on there. It was pretty funny.
Yeah,
he got up in the scissor lift, no training. Well, that we're aware of. Maybe they did give him training, and then he raised it up and accessed the roof using stepped over the guardrail and stuff. Everything wrong. I could have cited him, but
we. During an OSHA investigation a few years back, the OSHA compliance officer told us he wasn't going to be able to run the scissor lift and wanted one of us to operate it for him and everything. Felt that, we were probably more qualified. And of course, it was like the vice president of safety and me and a couple other people. I mean, it's like, oh, no, we brought all the top brass to see you. Hold on while I... Just one moment while I step out and get an electrician here that can, and I mean, my boss, the vice president, he's looking at me and he's like, well, I'm not going to put on a, harness and get in there and anything, I don't need to see me do something wrong. And I'm like, yeah, we're the safety guys.
That's right. We're going to stand right here and watch.
We're going to get an operator that we have qualified.
That's right.
And we are going to get him in here to show us.
That seems kind of an inappropriate ask, truthfully.
Yeah.
Go get somebody to operate this.
Well, he asked nicely about it. I mean,
was it here in Nebraska?
No.
Okay, good. Okay.
No.
Interesting.
We get farm kids still in Nebraska, so most everybody's been able to run them.
They've run equipment their whole lives.
I don't get too worried if Phil wants to look over and get in the seat of something or anything.
No, of course not. No. So what's the prospect for baseball this year? What do we got on the agenda? You guys are always going to be Iowa Cubs fans.
We
regulars.
work with the Cubbies, and so April 2nd is opening night. April 3rd is their first home day game at noon. So,
do you follow any of the big league clubs?
We do. The wife and I are both Los Angeles Dodger fans.
That's right. Didn't she just go to L.A. or something?
We're going in April.
Going in April.
So the plan was I was going to make the Friday game in Wrigley, Shohei Ohtani's debut at Wrigley on Friday, April 5th. But
wow.
Yeah, no, my wife says that I have to wait and go to my first Shohei Ohtani game with her, so we're going to do that on April 10th in Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis, awesome.
Then we're flying to L.A. and we're going to see them play the Padres and the Nationals. So Carrie will have her first day game at Dodger Stadium, and then April 15th we're doing Jackie Robinson Day at Dodger Stadium.
Good for you, man. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Are you a baseball fan?
I am.
Are you like that?
Not like that.
Okay, I was going to say, because there are a few fans like that.
Right. No, I'm not there.
They got married at the ball game.
Yeah.
Remember going to that? That was a treat, man. That was fun.
Got married at the ball game.
Beautiful day.
Fletcher there with me, cheering me on.
Cheering you on, man. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, that's cool. I enjoy the baseball game.
Yeah.
I like a sport that can watch me back, and baseball is leisurely enough that I can watch it with one eye and take a nap with the other or whatever, you know. It's not like basketball is just too frenetic for me. I just too crazy.
And, you know, and I've got some good friends, so, you know, got a lot of enjoyment out of it over the years. We've tied baseball into, you know, a lot of different events and everything. And started working, Gary Higbee and I have been friends forever. And I need to get Gary to come over and do this with me someday.
Yeah, and Ted keeps saying that he'll come one of these days. But
and he says he's a baseball fan, too.
He's just a rumor. Is there really a guy named Ted in your organization?
He wears Brewers stuff and everything.
Oh, my God.
But no, Gary has got – so Gary, he played college ball. And yeah, he's got a great Gibson story,
wow,
and a great Stan Musial story, and so I had Gary do some training for me, and he threw a picture of Bob Gibson and Stan Musial now, you know, at a Hall of Fame event, and he put on it like, you know, Operators Hall of Fame, and put it up, and it's like I have a room full of construction guys, excavators and stuff. No one knew who they were.
Really?
Yeah. I know.
We're old, dude.
Yeah, I know. Gary was like really feeling it too, but because he's got a couple of great stories.
Catching
about that.
Bob Gibson.
Yes,
I was a catcher. I wouldn't even get behind the plate.
It's a
That's
Gary Higbee
ridiculous.
story. I steal enough of his stuff, so I'll let him come tell you that one.
That sounds good. This is very exciting, man. So
yeah.
Give us the website and the contact information again.
Riskill.net, Riskill.net. Reach out. Katie's there. She'll take care of you. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook.
What is that?
You can find us.
What is that now? Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook. We have
the hell?
accounts. Katie will have postings up of this before the morning.
Katie's taking care of it.
Yeah,
okay.
no, I don't. No,
I was gonna say.
No, heck, you know that.
Yeah, man.
This is. I try not to work very much either. So,
but she's been taking care of all of that stuff for her. Booking the gigs, taking care of that, scheduling and all of that, getting you guys in the right place
at the right time with the right stuff.
That's gonna be a challenge. I love her. That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
And the baby's name?
Talila. Yeah.
So if we go to the Iowa, Illinois Safety Conference in April,
yes,
Coralville, there's a chance that we can see the simulator and the baby.
Hot pink onesie with a Riskill logo on it.
Is that you or is that the baby?
That's the baby.
Okay.
That's the baby.
I may not come if we're going to be.
Yeah. Another thing, so give a shout out to Monty Hoyle. I'm doing only Hawaii Shirt Fridays this year too.
No kidding.
Yeah.
In tribute to Monty.
So
that was his deal. And you're cutting up like extension cords, or what else are you doing?
If I'm teaching on a Friday, I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Okay.
Him and another old friend.
All right.
One of my old friends from Black Beach. So Manny Ramirez.
Hawaiian Shirt
guys.
Friday.
Yep.
I'm usually like Latin T-shirt Friday, but that's just because my kid just got accepted to graduate school in Greek and Latin at the University of Iowa in their program.
Wonderful.
And he's got a few more applications out, so he's not coming home anytime soon, which is great. He's going to keep going to school for a while. So,
good.
Yeah, so Latin Shirt Friday. You have to wear a suit.
Yeah,
it's all right.
She's working today. She took off to come do this. She's not like us, and
you actually have to
work.
Do work, generate a work product, and all those kind of things.
Yes.
Confidentially.
Exactly.
Of course. Man, this is fantastic. I every time we speak, I'm excited because you are on the forefront of this stuff always. And I've always appreciated that. And I don't say that lightly. There are only a few people that I consider good trainers. We've all run into, Bob and some of those guys from the past that we've run into. But the people that are doing it now, it's a real skill. It's an art and a skill, and most people don't have it. And I'm not a good trainer. I have a lot of experience and information that I can share, but I don't have. It's not me, you know. And but you, Ted, Chris, that handful of people that really know how to do this, it makes a difference. It is truly transformational.
We love it. So
I'm excited, man, I'm serious about this.
Yeah,
I'll go out there and generate the work thing.
I honestly, I
keep
see
you guys
this
as busy as possible.
I see this helping us open so many doors. As we have been taking this and sharing it, one of my clients, he's past president of the Iowa Water Association, and we don't do anything with them. And he's like, I see you being at every place like this.
Yeah, I love it. Mandy, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you for coming and for sharing in this and for helping him, taking care of him. Did you have to feed him last night at dinner?
No,
or would you like, puree his food for him or something?
It's all good.
That's awesome. It's very nice to meet you. And just to let everyone know, you're considering launching a podcast as well.
Yes.
So when you do have your podcast up and going, come back and talk about it, and you can share it with my audience.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure, they would be very interested in that.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Heading to Lincoln now.
Yep, going to go down to Lincoln.
What time's the game?
4:35.
Well, hopefully the weather improves a little bit.
I'll go down and see if I can join the ground crew and do anything.
That would be nice. Actually, are you serious?
Yeah. No,
They let you get out there and help?
If
Pull some tarps and stuff?
I can remember, it's been a while back, but one of the Husker opening days, I can remember kids taking off from Aurora to go down and help shovel snow off the field.
That's fantastic.
Because we all wanted to see baseball. So
Yeah, I love that. Well, guys, give Mark a call or get in touch with Katie, actually. You probably can't speak to Mark.
talk to Katie.
Talk to Katie, always. Riskill.net, transitional training. Transformational training. Sorry. I guess they don't. We'll skip that one.
We're gonna have to work on your sales skills.
It's just the sincerity I think that people feel.
It was a simple line, and we're gonna have to get that out of you if you're gonna be my sales guy.
It, of course. It's always a pleasure, man. It's good to see you. Thanks everybody for listening. Check this out. This is obviously the future of training. This is what we need to be doing. If you want this to be meaningful and to last, have some staying power, look into this training. I think it sounds fantastic. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we will be back here next Friday. In fact, next Friday, Dustin Talaco, my buddy that does the Stop the Bleed training, he's got a new training class that he's developed, that a little bit about, some of the things that he sees on a regular basis, Narcan and things like that he sees regularly as a paramedic here in Omaha.
Well, you got to be talking about.
He's got a new class as well on that. I think it'd be really interesting for everybody. So join us next Friday, and have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Later.
Thanks, buddy.